All right, so to start off today's show, first want to go back to yesterday. So if you watch the news this morning, you'll see that the mainstream media is for once actually covering the war in Afghanistan due to this gruesome massacre of civilians over the weekend, allegedly by one U.S. soldier. Now, it's unfortunate that it takes an event like this to get the media to question whether or not the war in Afghanistan is a failure after 10 long years, but that's what it's come to. So now let's go back to yesterday, to something that happened on one of the Sunday morning talk shows where the issue of the targeted killing of U.S. citizens came up. That's something which the media thus far hasn't really considered to be that big of a deal. And I fear that it's going to take 10 years, other horrible events, for them to realize that thanks to the war on terror, the fear that we've all been fed, the Constitution and the protections afforded within it have been completely trampled on. Anyway, here's Candy Crowley talking to Democratic Senator Harry Reid about Attorney General Eric Holder's speech and how people are arguing that the president needs to get, this is of course in Holder's view, people are arguing that the president needs to get permission from a federal court before taking action against a U.S. citizen overseas.
He said that's just not accurate, that due process and judicial process are not one and the same. Do you have, and this is creating quite a stir, do you have any problem with that? Do you understand what that means exactly?
No, I don't, but I do know this. The American citizens have been killed overseas who are terrorists, and frankly, if anyone in the world deserved to be killed, those three did deserve to be killed.
And these are the three that were killed in Yemen, and I understand that, but just, are you slightly uncomfortable with the idea that the United States president, whoever it may be, can decide that this or that U.S. citizen living abroad is a threat to national security and kill them?
Well, I don't know what the Attorney General meant by saying that. I'd have to study it a little bit. I've never heard that term before. But I think the process is in play. I think it's one that I think we can live with. And I think with the international war on terror that's going on now, we're going to have to make sure that we have the tools to get some of these people who are very bad and comply with American law.
And you think that the president should be able to make that decision in conjunction with the folks in the administration, without going to a court, without going to you all, anything?
There is a war going on. There's no question about that. He's the commander-in-chief, and there's been guidelines set, and if he follows those, I think he should be able to do it.
All right, so let's walk through a couple details of this horrible exchange, shall we? Harry Reid first says that no, he doesn't understand what the difference is between due process and judicial process. But who cares about understanding the legal language that this administration tries to use, right? Because directly after that, he says with certainty that the three individuals who are American citizens who have been killed abroad deserved to be killed. Now, as far as I know, the legal memo that the administration used to justify killing Anwar al-Awlaki was only shared with a very small national security panel. So unless Harry Reid somehow got in on it, how can he say these people deserved to be killed? Not to mention, of course, that if Harry Reid actually gave a damn about the Constitution, the laws in this country, it wouldn't matter, because they would know, he would know, that they have protections that should guarantee their day in court regardless of whether he thinks they deserve to be killed. And finally, the three individuals that we're talking about here: Anwar al-Awlaki, Samir Khan, who was killed in the same strike as al-Awlaki, and Abdul Rahman al-Awlaki. That's Anwar al-Awlaki's 16-year-old son. He was killed in an airstrike in Yemen last October, along with 8 other people. U.S. officials have never said why. The only thing that officials have said, anonymously of course, to the press, is that he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. But according to Harry Reid, this 16-year-old American citizen deserved to be killed. That's quite a statement to make. That is quite a horrifying reality of how our government functions these days, of how completely out of hand this war on terror has become. Not only do we have Democratic leaders fully supporting policies which they apparently don't understand, yet which anyone with a basic knowledge of our Constitution could figure out is illegal, but we have a press that also lets it slide. I'm happy that Candy Crowley asked him the question, but you'd think a little follow-up question would be in order as to how he's so sure that these people deserve to be killed without ever having seen a day in court, especially a 16-year-old. And so, here once again, ladies and gentlemen, we see why so many of these dangerous policies are allowed to slide, why this war on terror is perpetuated, why it'll probably only get much worse when one day the press corps realizes that, hey, there's a problem. For now, unfortunately, they continue to choose to miss.